All right, guys, back here with you on the 19th of June here. I'm going to finish up with Binance to the dollar tether here, obviously on Binance. So I've looked at a lot of alts today, so through what you guys were requesting through the polling and just kind of looking for something that might warrant a video. I think there's a lot of the alts that are kind of in right where Binance was 4 or 5 months ago. Looks like maybe the start of the breakout after the long dump that has been so persistent in the alts, and it looks like we're kind of in this initial phase here, and this is what every alt wants to be when it grows up, is you get this kind of a move out of it. Now that's going to take a lot of things going right, but here is a pretty nice looking impulse off of the low here. It actually gets a little easier to spot if you put it in log scale. So we can get the 1, 2, 3, 4 all looks pretty solid. Now it would appear that we still have more legs here. So the 4, even though it's tempting, oh shit! Well, here I'll take it out of log scale because their Trading View is having issues with their log scale with the fib tools. Get this out of here. I don't know why I can't get that to stay there. So, but here's trying to suggest here the length of the 1 projected from the 4. I mean, we have nothing to measure with there. So even if we take the 2 through the 3 and just look like here, if we go 2 through the 3, well, we're already 2. So we come to 38 for the 4, right? We'd find it right in the sweet spot, right by the book. So first target, little stutter. Looks like second target could very well be in play here. So if this is going to come up here, there's a reasonable chance that we're completing something here. But we don't need to assume that's going to be the 5 and we're going to sell off by 50%. Now, it's certainly reasonable here. So we'll just split the difference here. Bring us back to 22. Well, pardon me. We got to go all the way back here. So you got to get right on that. So we'll put us here. Yeah, it's still about the same, 21.5 in change. So if we're going to come up here and finish this as a 5, and there's the count here is a little funky, so that would we'd have decent. The 1, 2, the 2, 4 is decent, right? This is relatively straightforward. That's not that symmetry is not terrible, right? Obviously one hell of a 3. Looks like we could be finishing up here. You can see the intensity is the move is just weakening here as well. So our Elliott oscillator is giving us pretty clear signs of divergence here. Now keep in mind that can change dramatically, right? If it doesn't start to come down, this can kick this can kick way back up here. So don't assume that just because you're seeing it here that can't change. But that is telling us that at least as we sit here, the market's weakening, or it just needs additional fuel and some volume to push out of here. It's likely, right? As Bitcoin is essentially doing the same thing, just sitting in a range with one little. I mean, this looks almost exactly like the Bitcoin chart. All right, so we're just sitting in this range, going sideways, building a base. Now that base can be substantial if we're gonna kick out of here and go up to maybe some of these upper targets and then come back down. That'll give us some support to lean into. But right now, coming back here, it looks like that if we were going to get third target here relative to this. I don't know if there's much else we can work with here looking for. I consider some alternates. It's just, I think this is our cleanest count, and this congestion that we're in, once we break out of this, that'll give us some clue as to where we may be going next. But per the Elliott count, we're still seeking the 5th of the 1 off the low. So if it's going to just play straight Elliott ball, that 50, that this zone down here is certainly when we want to be paying attention to, and note how it's kind of not unlike what I was just describing before. So this area here where we have this congestion likely to serve, if we're going to start the retrace, be an area where we'd be looking for support, and now conveniently look where it is, right between the 50 and the 618. So if we get something like that, boy, that's the big daddy. That's the one you don't want to miss, right there. But we're not there yet. So now this is a little tricky in the subdivision in here, no question about it, because it's just a little bit you've got a pump down that's making this very hard to get a clear count on it. So this is, you know, here on Binance we don't overlap. I mean, it is really close. Let me go down to the hourly here. So it's about as close as it can be. So it seems like this structure may have been what held it, but we are within a couple of ticks of overlapping the two. So I you know, we got to label it something here. So I somewhat reluctantly put the 4 there, but otherwise we got a bit of a problem up here because we'd be trying to finish with a 3 wave, and that doesn't really work for us. So we need one more kick up here. Now it looks like it may be cooperating here. So, you know, duly noted here. This is unusual, right? We barely spare invalidation, but so we'd have to go. So you'd have to get a diagonal into the 1. The problem is you've got an impulse here. So pardon me. So I've got that mislabeled. We'll have to, because of the diagonal, we'd have to do it this way. All right, it actually works just fine that way. So we can go A, B, C into the 3. Yeah, I know. Right, but I don't see another way for us to finish there. So what else do we do with it? I was looking for something that might give us a technical pivot. Right, this is the best I could find here. So I'm just pulling from the 2 low through that pivot. Now at least we get the 50 to the tick. So a reasonable target up here. Again, I'm just working with what the market is giving me here. I looked at, so I don't think we can go. Yeah, no, you can't. We can't go 1, 2. Yeah, we just can't finish here. So so likely there's one more kick up here at the very least going after this. Well, let's call it 40-ish. This just occurred to me here. We might have to look here. We come over. Nothing. I might keep an eye on that. All right, so we get some degree of a target up here. Right, the algo target is obvious here, but we're already kind of moving away from the zone here. Now this is, let's just look at all the contenders here. This is going to be ugly because of how steep that is. So we've already tagged that. Well, that's kind of interesting. This. So swing high, swing low. So here's your, now granted that's so deep, right? I know, but there you are, right? So right, this seems to be influencing the market. Let's get this right on it. All right, it's influencing in some way. So could we have, oh my God, 1, 2, working through a 3, 4, 5 to get us up here? Doesn't seem unreasonable. So from the low here to the 1, I'm 50 to the tick, already have algo target. So this is what we're after, is the second target up here, our shorthand for our 1618. This could all get us there. Always trading me. Guess that's never going to get fixed. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would finish us up here. Now let's pull that back out. Right, you have no, let's pull all the way. Let's see, we'd have to go to a daily. All right, so, sorry guys. Okay, so let's get this wicked off, right? So this will be something that you can see here came into play. So back to the 4 hour, where we can get this nice clean look at it. So I've wicked that off. Now again, if we go up and get that, so that kind of interesting. So here, that structure, that pivot that we're just looking at, this area here will be of interest for the stronger the market. So that, if that's it, and again, I don't have a pivot up here, but if I'm going to go get some of those pivots, all right. So this kind of is interesting to me. So if we can get the 50 right there, wouldn't that just be perfect? Right? If we get the 50 right there to give us this zone here. Now we don't have that. Now that's going to require a bigger kick up here to get this 5 up to get to that level. But it's possible, right? If this is going to go 1, 2, we're going to get a bigger 3. We certainly could. I just like that. So if the 50 is sitting right at that structure, so we can just draw the whole thing over, wouldn't that be convenient? All right. So we get this range here, identifying here our 50 to our 618. That would just be, well, that would be an absolute got up, must load the boat there, right? If we get an opportunity to do that, but this is me forecasting a perfect scenario here, which means that we're going to have to get up to about 46.5 for that to play, and I'm just kind of having some fun with that to see what that would look like if we could set that up. So that's that, one to just kind of watch for. If we were to get something like that, that would just be ideal. So so you might just put a little tag up there just as a potential target, knowing that would set that up that nicely. So all right, so with that established here, let's come out of this here and see if this can make any sense. So let's go back down to that 1 hour. So before we get into any of that projection here, we got to get this 3 to complete. So right now, you have a problem spot here. This is highly unusual. So this, as I've showed you guys, I'll do this here just so I don't forget. Okay, obviously this is my problem spot. So if this count starts to break down, I've got to come back here and revisit this area because that's vulnerable because of the depth here. That may need to get a second look. It would be if this. So if this were an ABC and we were going to actually come down here, this would be easier to reconcile this. Otherwise, trying to finish the 5th up here is a bit of a problem. So if we take out this pivot, we kind of are stuck with this count. If we take out this pivot of the 3 here, we got to live with the ugly 4. Yeah. Well, let me take that back. Okay, I guess we could look at it this way. To get up to some of those other targets, we could do it this way. So we'd have to go. Okay, hang on. Let me put this back together. Okay, so let's consider that. All right, maybe I'm not being bullish enough. So we could go 1, 2. Maybe this fits better. Actually, now that I sit here looking at it. So if this is an ABC into a 1, right? So we're assuming we're going to finish with a diagonal. Again, I'm making assumptions here because I don't like this, right? So there's no Elliott trader is going to want to lean into essentially a double bottom for the 2 and the 4. So I think maybe the ABC plays better. Now, obviously, that means we got to get up here and we got to stay with a 3-wave structure, so a lot has to happen here. But it's such an ugly 4 that I prefer it as a 2 now that I look at it. So we could do it. So we'd be taking the median line set off of the 1, 2. Now that actually sets us up. So we'd not want 5 in here. So we'd want to have. So this could potentially be setting up this way. So we could have the A, the B. We're going to go up for the C to give us our 3rd up here. Right? You might not be anticipating a 1618, although we could get it. So 1, 2. If we can go up for the 3. Stay with the 3-wave structure, maybe we end up with something along these lines. So where does that leave you right now? Well, if you're a bull, it's a little tricky, right? So look what you're doing, right? If you're a bull and you're looking for the buy side, you're buying right into the prior resistance here. So you're essentially saying, I am confident that this is so bullish that we're going to break through. Well, there will be stops up here. We're going to break through this supply zone, and we're going to go up here, and we're going to finish with a bigger. We're going to get our 3, 4, 5. So is it possible? Yeah, of course, right? So we've got the algo play has already been realized. So if this is A, B, or 1, 2, whatever it is, we come to the 50. We've already hit the first algo target. So if we're going to go up here and get that C, as I was kind of trying to put that together, and get an A, B, C up here. Well, then the 1 will of course, be important. So we don't need much of a retracement. So if we can go up there and get that C, then we don't need a big retracement. Ideally, you'd want it to come right back into this structure, as potentially that would be there for the support, and then we'd finish up with something like that, which would give us our ending diagonal to finish this off, and potentially now put in the pivot of the 5 of the 1 at this degree. All right, so putting that all back together, let's go back out to the 4 hour. All right, so that's kind of what we're looking at. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Can we get up to that 5? Now, just out of curiosity before I go. Okay, let's just see if we got that. If we got that level. So let's go up to that. It's not quite right. If we and again, I'm just forecasting. I'm looking for this to line up around the 50. All right, so this pivot. So potentially, right, we've got that. We'd have this is our buy zone here. You'd have to use this pivot here from that prior pivot as potentially a front run. That structure will be substantial since it's banked. It's been resistance twice. So if we were to come back down here, that's where you'd start buying. But we're not there yet. Again, I don't know that I'd be buying right into that high, right into that potential resistance there. If it breaks through. Now, if it does break through, that's not a problem. You don't feel like, oh shit, I missed it, because you're anticipating now the retrace to come back and test the lower edge of it. So you could in effect kind of move it all down. If we're going to go up and get that, well, now we can come back here and look at all of this prior structure as we built. That would be the base edge here of our volume profile, would be right here at the edge of it. So if we're going to stay and then come down here and hold inside the median lines, that we'd have a nice fat target there to give us that potential fifth, and then put the whole thing back together. So I'm not a buyer here myself, right into this supply. Right, I'm not a buyer there. I'm going to wait till they give me a little 20 or 30% discount rather than pay full retail. All right, guys, there you go. All right, back.